Call this meeting to order. This is a Livingston Parish Council meeting. Today is December the 19th, 2019. It's a few minutes after 6:30 p.m. We'll now have the invocation. Mr. R.C. Bubba Harris is in charge of that tonight.
Yeah, and Mr. Layton is going to handle it.
All right, Mr. Layton Riggs.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord, and we ask your blessing to be upon us. We ask, Lord, that you would guide and direct every step that we take and every move that we make. We ask, Lord, that you would comfort those who are in need, that you would comfort those who are sick, that you would heal the sick. We ask, Lord, that this day and time that we remember to be thankful for our freedom, and that we thank you for the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that we celebrate Christmas. And we ask, Lord, that you be with us each and every one, of course, in your name we pray.
Amen. All right, Mr. Bubba, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Mack,
Here.
Mr. Wassman.
Here.
Mr. Talbert.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Averett.
Here.
Mr. Liddill.
Here.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Garlinghouse.
Here.
Mr. Ard.
Here.
All right, at this time we would ask that everybody silence their cell phones so that we don't have any interruptions during the meeting due to cellular devices. Okay, public input. Anyone wishing to address any of the agenda items is certainly welcome to do so. What we really need to do, is raise our hand if we have something to comment on that particular agenda item. And then we'll call upon you in order, and then you can come to the podium and state your name and address, and then, talk a little bit about what you want to talk about, and then we'll move on. So that's how that works. Okay, so presentations. We don't have anything listed tonight, but I just want to say a few things. Being a councilman is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life. And it is time consuming, and you do have to sacrifice a lot. But whenever you're able to make good decisions, to lead your community in the right direction, do what's best for your people, there's a feeling inside that just, it's really a good feeling. And as much as you try to be available 100% of the time, it's just not always possible, But we have a couple of meetings a month, and it just seems like the last 4 years have went by so quickly, But we have a couple of meetings a month, and we've done that for the last 4 years. And we've had one councilman that has never missed one single meeting. It didn't matter if he had surgery, it didn't matter what was going on in his life. He made an effort to be here at every single council meeting. So tonight I'd like to recognize that person and give him a reward that doesn't have a large monetary value, but it has a huge sentimental value. Okay. And that particular person doesn't have to be it's not the youngest person on this council. It's not the most energetic, but I'd like to say that he's definitely one of the most devoted to help his people in every way he possibly can.
That's right.
And his name happens to be R.C. Bubba Harris. And so we have this sentimental token of value here to give to Mr. Bubba, and we would all like to crowd around him and take that picture up front. Can we do that real quick, guys? Here you go, Mr. Bubba. Hey, let me, Mr. Bubba.
Last picture, boys.
Hey.
Hey, Bubba, just ignore that Little League third place. Hey, I didn't know Rubber Shank could find out of his luck.
We knew one day Bubba would get a participation trophy or something.
I didn't know I was ready to play.
Thank you, Bubba.
Yeah. Hey, Shane. They just came on.
And so, I got one more thing to say. You know, I was blessed with the opportunity to be a chairman, and I've enjoyed this the past year, and it has also went by so fast. And I only have like, what, a meeting and a half, maybe, to be chairman. So tonight, I know that a lot of people want to, you know, get through this meeting and get home to their families and stuff, but I want to make this last as long as possible. Because I might not get the same opportunity again, you know?
Hey, I'd like to make a motion.
So how about
I'd like
about
to make a
6
motion.
hours
I'd like
for
to make
council meeting tonight?
I'd like to make a
Wouldn't that
motion
be
to
great?
adjourn.
I second that.
I got a motion to adjourn right here. I got a second from the parish president. Miss Sandy, would you call for the vote?
That's it, buddy. All right.
Well, the old man gets a vote in there.
Oh, I hear you. I'm just talking about we 6-hour meeting. We gonna adjourn now.
All right, let's get started here. Agenda item number 8, adoption of the minutes. This is December the 5th, 2019, Juban Crossing Economic Development District. We probably need separate motions.
I need to email y'all. Can we put it on the
You
next
didn't
thing? I
email?
did
No, let's defer.
Okay, so we need to defer those,
A and
agenda
B?
item 8, A and B.
I'll make a motion to defer.
Got a motion by Gary Talbert, a second by Jeff Averett to motion and defer agenda item number 8, A and B. Okay. Agenda item number 9, Parish President's Report.
Okay, we just have 3 little things to take care of. We are asking for the council to accept the auditor for the 2019 year. And then we have a fiscal agent bid to go over and the jail med contract to go over. So we put out a request for proposal for auditors, and we had 2 bids come in. LaPorte, who currently audits us, came in at $55,000, and there's a new company out of Baton Rouge, Colder, Slavin and Company, came in at $52,000. They both had very similar field work timelines. I don't know anything about this new company, but I will tell you, in your decision-making process, we typically don't have a lot of people bid for this because LaPorte bids about as low as you can do this job for. So I'm even though the new company came in for $3,000 less, I'm a little concerned that if we go with them and next year nobody bids because they can't do the job for less than that they're gonna jack the price up. You know, I'm sort of scared they just did a low dollar amount to get the job, and then next year they're going to charge us more. We have a good professional relationship with LaPorte. I would hate to see us lose that, but
How much was last year's bid?
55 also.
So they knew what last year's bid was?
Yes, sir.
Chris, can we legally accept a bid? I mean, if it's for professional services, is that why?
Yes, you don't have, I don't believe you have to accept a low bidder.
No, but you have to have justifiable reasons why you're picking a bidder that's not low, because with professional services, you can factor in other things.
Such
So it's
as
not
a history?
necessarily the lowest price.
Such as the history of good relation with LaPorte?
Right.
Okay.
What's the recommendation by the parish president?
I'd like to ask y'all to accept the report.
Okay.
I'll put that. I'll
We got a
second.
motion by Tracy Gerlinghouse to accept auditor LaPorte. As-
I'm concerned that we're gonna obligate the next council to a contract that they didn't get to vote on. So Chris, what's the law with respect to that? I mean,
Well, there's no prohibition from entering into a contract that's, lives beyond the life of the council. And there's a lot of people that believe that's true. There are contracts that are limited, you can only go for so many years. And your ordinances also limit some, the waste management contracts, for instance. But I think a 1-year contract is reasonable, so I don't, there's no.
How long is
there's
this
no state
contract
law.
it's a 1-year contract. Look,
And it's to audit the 2019 year.
Yeah,
So
it
you
is
just
for
have,
this
the
year.
work happens to happen in 2020, but it's the 2019.
here's
As
my
far as this present council.
here's my concern. There's an ordinance on the books, 12-50, that basically says that requests for proposals, the parish council shall approve all request proposals prior to publication by any department or branch of the chairperson of the parish council. So basically, all RFPs are supposed to come to the council for approval before we advertise. How many RFPs have we seen in this current council to approve? They just bring us the results.
Have you had any issues?
No, I mean, the ordinance says though that the RFPs are supposed to come before us, and my concern is that the way the RFPs are written sometimes might discourage individuals from bidding or limit other people. I just think that we don't know what the RFPs say. All we know is who the low bidder is. And in this case, we didn't even get a committee to grade it. We got 2 proposals and we're gonna go with the highest one. And every time before when we got proposals, we went with the lowest.
Well, we're asking because of the working relationship. It's y'all's decision, but we're asking because of the working relationship with the port and the timelines that they are able to meet and have been very successful in meeting without raising their prices up on us year in and year out. We've not ever had any problems. I'm not sure why you're bringing all this up. We've never had any issues with the council in the last 8 years that I've been here.
Oh, well, I mean, I understand.
I don't-
My concern is that this is in this particular situation, we're gonna go with a higher price. When Jennifer says the work is, the timeline is adequate for both parties.
They say it will be adequate. We're asking simply because of the working relationship. It's up to you all. It's y'all's vote.
I think that's a pretty valid point. I think that's probably something we should talk about in the future. I think there's
So-
also something to be said, though, when you've been doing business with a contractor, annually, and there's only a $3,000 difference in the bid.
When's our next scheduled council meeting in January?
Well, so the reason that we're asking you now to accept or award a contract to an auditor is because if the auditor would like to test inventory, they do that the last day of the year. So that would be Monday. So both of these auditors are ready to, if they decide to test inventory, they will come out here Monday and test our inventory. They don't have to do it every year. It just depends on if they assess risk as high for that area and decide, and typically it's every other year, every third year, whatnot. that they
Was
test
inventory assessed last year on the last day of the year?
Yes, they did test inventory.
So
last year.
did they test it the previous year?
No,
No.
So typically, if Laporte got it, they probably wouldn't test Monday anyway.
probably not. But,
So it's
but
really probably a non-issue.
a new company coming in, they have to do beginning balance procedures on the first year audit. So their procedure may be a little bit different. I don't know. I haven't talked to this guy about it.
So if they don't test inventory till the middle of January, what's the issue?
Depends on the auditing firm.
You have a problem with it?
I'm just trying to figure out, we're gonna vote on a contract for the next council, which, there'll be 2 new members. And at the same time, we're not awarding it to the low bidder, which I know we don't have to. But my concern is maybe given the new council might wanna, have some thought into it. So what's the possible problem with deferring it to the next meeting? Because you just said it was gonna probably be an every other year situation. So if Laporte gets it, the chance of them coming out Monday testing inventory is what, slim and none?
Yeah,
But what about the new company?
yeah.
Well, so what we think? We think we're gonna lose something in 2 weeks? I'm just trying to figure it out.
Your prerogative is to make a motion.
Well, we have a
Well,
motion.
we got a motion to
and a second.
approve, we got a motion to approve the
Gary,
report.
we're gonna have
Do you
that
typically,
council
do you
till the
typically
23rd
do
meeting.
this every
Every
year?
year, just like this for
And
8
even in the
years.
transition year, do you do it to the council that's
Yeah.
seated?
Yes.
Every year,
I mean,
8 years running. There's no issue.
In my
here.
opinion, we should just vote on it. I mean,
I'll
I'm on
promote
this
it.
council too, so.
Yeah, well, the majority of us are, and
That's fine. I mean, I just wanted to bring up the point that, you know, we have the opportunity to maybe save the parish $2. And so, you know,
Again, like Shane said, it's a very small percentage considering. Yeah. And you said they're a new company,
Yeah.
I think
but they're a new
the
firm.
main thing you bring up is RFP.
We've never done
Needs
this.
to come to us before, is what you're getting at, right? That's what I'm getting. I don't think we've had any issues with the board on our end at all either. He's been very helpful and answers all.
And they'll come meet with you guys too whenever.
Anytime you want, yeah, he says that.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor by Tracy Gerlinghouse to accept Laporte.
Can we, I think we need to authorize Mr. Layton to sign it as well. Don't you have to sign?
To
it?
award the contract and then authorize Mr. Layton to sign it.
So that needs to be in the motion.
Please.
Okay. So we got a motion on the floor by Tracy Gerlinghouse to accept the auditor year ending 12/31/2019.
report.
Award that bid to Laporte and authorize the Liberty Parish president to sign the contract with them. And this is a 1-year contract. There's a second by,
Bubba had already
Thank
seconded.
you.
Oh,
Or John had already seconded.
I didn't realize it.
John
Who
had
seconded the
John
motion?
had seconded.
John Wascom seconded that motion. Okay? So we're gonna call for, is there any discussion from the audience on this particular agenda item? Oh, there is? Okay. Come on up to the podium.
My name is Vanessa Thompson. I live on Northall Road. I just have a couple questions. When we do audits, are we audited on, are our budgets audited on just if our figures matched up? Are we actually audited on where our money goes and where it's both?
And a ton of other ways.
Okay. And second question or comment is that making this decision on a different auditor, I would ask y'all to really take time and think about it because you could be saving the parish some money. And you don't need to make a decision with an accusation that this new auditor might do something wrong or iffy. So if you have that concern, maybe you might want to take a little time and check them out first. And like defer this until the next meeting. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more, that would like to comment.
Good evening, Gordon Courtney, 31246 Old Baton Rouge Highway, Albany. I keep coming before y'all, and all I ask is that, y'all consider your fiduciary responsibility to this parish. I agree with Mr. Talbot, and if, in my opinion, if the company, the lowest bid company, is bonded and insured, as I'm sure they would have to be to meet the specifications of the RFP, then they have probably the same workings as Laporte. And to see the parish once again consider granting somebody a contract, even though it's the higher bid, to me, is one of the big reasons why when you ask your constituents to pass a tax or a fee, they don't want to do it. So I would just ask y'all to consider the optics of accepting a higher bid from an auditing company that's been auditing the parish for years. I would want to see a new company come in to maybe, I don't know, shake a few things up and maybe find something that had been possibly glossed over. Thank you.
Good question. Isn't LaPorte, I mean, I think Denham Springs used them, and I believe the parish has used them for years. Aren't they, a lot of them, some of the people who work for them, aren't they local here in Livingston Parish? I mean, I thought they had a couple of employees that lived here, and you say this other company's out of Baton Rouge, not that,
Dude, our debris contractor's out of Wigan, Wisconsin,
Okay.
and it didn't matter, so I mean,
you want to call for the vote?
Well, let's hold on a second here. Mr. Bubba had something to say. Appreciate that comment.
Well, the only thing I've got to say is, I know I've been around, not this type of contracts forever, but I've been around contracts. And I was a contractor, building contractor at one time. And if I went out and spent my time and everything to figure a price on the job, and then the other people found out what my price was, well, they could cut it. And they don't lose a penny. So, and that's what I'm looking at. Are we just,
Is there any more discussion from the audience? Does anybody else want to say anything? Okay. I think it's time to vote. We're going to call for the vote on this one.
Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Waskom?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
no.
Mr. Harris?
yes.
Mr. Averett?
Yes.
Mr. Lobel?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Okay, so the second item, 9B, is the resolution to accept our fiscal agent as our banking agent, and the only answer to our RFP was First Guaranty, the bank that we're currently with. So we just need you to accept and authorize Mr. Layton to sign that new contract.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor by Jeff Averett to accept First Guaranty Bank as our fiscal agent and authorize the parish president to sign the contract with First Guaranty Bank. Is there a second? Second. Bubba Harris. Is there any discussion from the audience on this particular agenda item?
One year.
1 year. Okay, so let's call for the vote on this too.
Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Mr. Waskom?
Yes.
Mr. Talbot?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Averett?
Yes.
Mr. Lobel?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Garlinghouse?
Yes.
Mr. Ard?
Yes.
Okay. One more.
Item
9C.
C is, we're asking you to award the jail med contract, again, to Contract Pharmacy Services, and authorize Mr. Layton to sign that contract. There were 4 pharmacies that put bids in on this contract. One of them was disqualified because they didn't follow the rules and bid on everything that we asked for. So there's 3 on this evaluation sheet that was sent to y'all. A bunch of people that know way more about this than I do graded it and awarded the highest grade to Contract Pharmacy based upon how they send out the meds, take back the meds, give us credit for unused and such.
Is this a bid or a professional service?
This is a bid, this is on actual meds
Okay, so where are the dollars on this thing?
in the packets that were sent over.
All we got is a bid evaluation on page 1. Okay, so was Contract Pharmacy the low bidder?
That's one of the, pricing model. They scored higher than any of the others.
Okay, but were they the low bidder? This isn't an RFQ, this is a bid.
Correct. This is just the grading sheet. So the pricing model line is where they award a score for the lowest price.
sure on certain.
I can't speak to
meds,
every
some
individual
some-
medicine, but overall as a whole.
Would be lower.
Overall,
They got 15, theirs was 10. So.
And I think the biggest thing I remember from this company last year was that they give credit per pill versus per card of pills. So, you know, if you use one out of a card of 20, they won't take that back on some other companies, but contract pharmacy will take those pills back and give you credit for 19 of the 20 pills.
Did we didn't have a motion yet, right? There's a motion by Tracy Girlinghouse to accept contract pharmacy services, to award them the contract, authorize the parish president to sign the contract to award them, the bid, you know, for that service to supply the meds for the jail. And that motion was made once again by Tracy Girlinghouse.
I'll second.
Second by Jeff Avery. We want to get a little bit from the audience, if there's someone that would like to talk a little bit about this particular agenda item. Okay. Call for the vote on this.
Mr. Mott?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Greenhouse?
Yes.
Mr. Art?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, council. I'd like to take just 1 minute of
Go
your
ahead,
time,
Mr.
if I
President.
could, please.
Yes, sir.
This is a personal nature, and I really wasn't going to talk about it publicly, but I've gotten several calls this week. Somehow, I mean, it just seems like everything gets out, and sometimes it becomes a lot worse than it typically is. As some of you know, I am dealing with a little health issue that just came to light about 3 weeks ago. It is cancer, but despite some of the rumors, I'm not stepping down because of health issues. I am having surgery on the 27th, and I feel very blessed that God let us catch it early before it spread. So I would encourage everyone to get their physicals and their checkups. Use this because I had no issues, none. And in my age group, the doctor recommends removing it versus sitting and waiting versus if I were 10 or 12 years older. But there's a lot of different rumors going out that I'm deathly ill, that I'm stepping down because of the illness, and I've gotten those calls and those questions. So again, it's a very personal nature that my wife and I are dealing with, and we will have, Lord willing, successful surgery on the 27th. I should not miss any work if I have my way. The doctor says I may have to have a couple of days off, but with the holidays running like they are, I'm hoping to have the surgery on the 27th and be back when the new year starts. So just wanted to update you on that and kind of dispel some of the rumors. I know that I've talked to some of all of you before about this, and thank you for all your prayers and your concerns and your thoughts. I appreciate it. My family appreciates it. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, guys.
Same to you.
Thanks, Lee.
Well,
Hey, Shane, I just want to say something about that item A there.
Okay.
Sure, the folks from Holder are fine people,
Yeah.
but it's, in my line of work, and I'm sure a lot of y'all's, cheaper ain't always better.
Right.
And I don't know anything about either one of them, but if they got a warm, fuzzy feeling about it, I don't feel like it's necessarily throwing money away for the trash. So,
Okay, so, agenda item number 10. Livingston Parish Waterway Commission, Mr. Perry Piku, Waterway Commission Chairman, is here to talk about this.
Good afternoon, council.
say, Barry.
Waterway Commission, we started back in 2006, 2008, and we wrote the criteria for all the island zones to make the rivers a lot safer for the boaters. And y'all had adopted and passed it by ordinance back then. Since then, we're still going strong. I'm only the last original member that started it, that's left. Mr. Les Reynolds, he's way up in age and he kind of retired there last year. So anyway, got Eric Edwards on board, got David Richardson of Prince Element, Heidi Kiger of Head Island, Mr. Robert Ping of Springfield, and Mr. John McCurry of Springfield. That's our board members. 2019, on all the rivers in Livingston, which we have a little better than 600 miles of waterways. We got 400 some miles that you can navigate a boat by in the parish of Livingston. More waterways than any other parish in the state. We had 5 fatalities this past year. We had a lot of small accidents. Say, for instance, Black Bayou involving a boat and a jet ski. Woman broke her hip. And Chickapin Canal is very narrow through there. Guy, brand new party barge. He wiped out somebody's pier and boat lift. He wasn't hurt, thank God. Northern Amite River, we had a swamp boat, 2 fatalities, 1 survivor. That was recently drowned in the Northern Amite. Tickfaw River, person fell off the front of the boat. Wound up being a fatality, guy drowned. Blood River, boat hit a log, resulting in 2 fatalities. Blind River, we had 2 or 3 accidents, no one was killed, people ran into trees. Running that night, missed a turn or whatever. Like I said, there was other accidents on the lake at the swimming hole. They got 2 swimming holes out there. People cut their foot on props and getting in the back of a boat while one's driving it, stuff like that. This past year, Councilman Tabb and Jeff worked with us. You know, that's their areas, so I want to thank them for their help. I know they're going to be out after tonight, I guess. But Tabb had a concern on the Tickfaw River being that wide, and they got the Tickfaw 200 happening in there. That the idle zone signs that we put up, or have put up, are close to the bank. Tickfaw River is very wide, so he comes to our meetings, and our meetings are held at Tickfaw Keegan Town Hall right there, close to Tickfaw River, first Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock. But anyway, Tabb attended our meetings, and he brought up about putting a floating buoy with a light on it, idle zone, in the middle of the river. And I think you had got with the sheriff department, right?
Yeah, and Wildlife and Fisheries.
And Wildlife and Fisheries, and they installed it. We paid for it. The Waterway Commission, we have funding, a little small funding, and we paid for it. The buoy costs $474.03, and it was purchased from Gator Supply Company. And also we had purchased a rangefinder. We've been spending our own money on gas, screws, tools and stuff, this whole, you know, since we've been on this Waterway Commission. And finally, a year or 2 ago, y'all had donated some money to us. And Eric, he's also on the tourism. He had got us some money, which we very thankful for that. Because like I said, a lot of times, you know, 99% we taking money out of our own pocket and spending it. We got the rangefinder, and that way everything's up to par. That way if the Wildlife and Fisheries, they write a ticket and have to go to court, that the measurement is precise. You know,
Rangefinders to make sure that the idle zone's
the right measurement.
Way,
The
proper
state
footage
rules,
away
yeah.
from the intersection or boat launch or whatever.
Yeah.
Bridge.
The state recommends, you know, like on bridges or public docking facilities, gas stations, boat launches, restaurants, business places is 300 feet either direction. That's what the state requires for Wildlife Fisheries.
Didn't we shorten the one at Blind River Bar?
We
from
have,
900 to
Jeff, we
600?
have, on Blind River, upstream at the intersection of the Virgin Canal, is still 300 feet upstream and downstream. But since Blind River no longer there, there's nothing there, it's only 100 feet, 150 feet
Okay.
upstream of the Virgin Canal. We hadn't got the signs put up here yet, because we gotta pull poles.
Because that is a dangerous intersection right there.
Yeah, it is, it is.
And I agree with y'all's decision to do
Yeah,
anything.
we wasn't gonna do away with it,
Right.
but we had a lot of complaints from the boaters, because me and Eric went down there, shot it with a range finder, and it was what, 900 and some more feet long. It's a long ways.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Which was needed when Blind River
Yeah.
was there, because
Yeah.
of the amount of boats and people trying to get into two separate
That's
waters.
300 feet past their dock, right? That's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
long dock. Now that's a long time to sweat.
and the reason why it took so long, we hadn't done that yet, because Aaron Shaw has been working with us, and he done a lot of work for us. It was Shaw Brothers Construction, and didn't charge us. If he's working in that area, he can do a lot of stuff, and we don't have a lot of people that we can pick from to put them poles down, you know, and a lot of them won't travel from Pick Fall River all the way to the Virgin Canal just to put up 4 poles. So I really
I got a friend
appreciate.
that's got a pile driver rig.
Yeah, I really appreciate Aaron Shaw and the Shaw Brothers for their help over the years. And
We'd like to thank Aaron for that too.
yeah, you have to say the Shaw Brothers Construction. Also, I'd like to thank the people at Keegan, the town of Keegan, for letting us use their facility to have our meetings there. The mayor and everybody. And we don't think the river cleanup.
Once again, coming from tourism, it's kind of natural for me to get on the waterways. I live on the waterways. I don't think most people don't realize the economic impact, the amount of nautical miles we have, etc. We have some very successful events. Amite River Christmas on the Bayou. We have the regatta. We have, of course, the largest poker run in the world, the Sturgis of Poker Run, Stickball 200, which probably brings anywhere from $1.2 million up to $1.5 million. It's turned into about a 3-week deal. No hotels to be found, restaurants. So those are very huge events that come into our area for that. So we'd like to thank you guys for giving the 5,000 tourism, give a $5,000 match. So it's helped us to kind of do some things. So just want to bring y'all up to date on that. So.
Look, I know Jeff and I are stepping out, and I'm sure Gerald and Randy, I think that's both the waterways still are kind of near and dear to their heart, I believe. So,
Yeah. Matter of fact, we're gonna be up for a reappointment come January.
Okay.
Me and Eric will.
Well, and I encourage the rest of y'all, I know y'all will, keep that deal going. Basically, we got, 400 miles of roads out there that every once in a while need some signs. And it just happens to be made out of water. So
We got some
that's,
signs that, like you said, that people take. You had seen it
Oh, yeah,
yourself.
they took the ones off.
They'll take them down and move them, or take them
Yeah.
down and throw them in the bottom of the river, fish them out, you know.
The ones what me and Wildlife and Fisheries put up, they took them down, we put them back up. So it's,
Me and Eric done that about a month ago. Some people moved some signs and we went back and shot them, put them back.
look, I sure appreciate everything y'all do.
And, we got a thing I can ask of y'all. I know before, you know, we had to go through TAB if we needed something right away or whatever, and then he had to go to the parish more or whatever. Is there any kind of way we can have a contact that we can call at the parish to get signs and the flags? That instead of having to, say, like call TAB and then TAB have to get back with us and go to TAB's house
I
to
would
pick
think
them
you
up?
could call the Department of Public Works.
But can we directly do that? Say if we need,
Anybody can call the Department of Public Works and make a request.
yeah, but
So
they're
you
gonna
could-
say,
so you could just make the
who are
request.
you? You know, I'm not no
When you make
councilman.
your
and-
request, tell them who you are and call us Sam and tell them Sam, and he'll tell the sign guy, get them ready.
Okay, because we're gonna need some signs.
We're making our own
They got
signs.
some missing right
They
now.
disappear,
And
that's for sure.
first, say around March or April, we're probably gonna need about 150 of them orange flags. 'Cause that's gotta be replaced before the voting season. And we put the flags up so they can see the idols on the signs, you know.
Yeah, well, that's who I call for anything.
Yeah.
And,
All same.
we got a pole saw, I tore up the pole saw, we've been using it for years, so I gotta replace it, you know, personal stuff.
We all got a few of those. You can always call the clerk's office, and they have all of our cell phones, and you can call
Yeah.
any of
Well,
us. And
Okay.
Well, he's
Sure.
just trying to get
Mr.
where he don't
Gerald.
have to do that.
Yeah,
because he's
when I have to go
like,
to
if I
2 or
just go
3
straight to
people,
the
I can
head,
just call and say,
Department of
look,
Public Works should
I'm
be
gonna
able
come
to
to
take the work
Livingston
order,
tomorrow.
process the work order, the whole create the
I'll
sign.
bring him over.
Yeah.
Yeah, go meet with.
We just didn't want to step on.
but I wanna,
No, you're not stepping on our.
I like to get y'all permission to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
No,
We've got it set up now, it's set up now whereas for the roads, the drainage and everything else, people just call the DPW and they write up a work order for it, and then they'll send us a copy of it
Yeah, but
on
they
our
don't,
phones or whatever.
yeah,
you know.
see, we go out and do the work,
Yeah,
Mr. Buff, you know, so we need the signs, like, you know, if the sign comes up missing, we'll get a phone call. People will drive us crazy for about a week. Where's that sign? That sign ain't back, especially at a business place. Where
You're
people's
talking
running
about
through there.
replacing old signs there, right?
Yeah,
Replacing
mainly.
old- So like, I have a problem with that, but if you're gonna put down a new sign, basically creating essentially.
Different, no acre or anything, yeah.
Those need to go come before us.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
any
That's-
new-
that's what we're gonna
any-
talk about.
I got a
But if you just, like,
recommendation here.
somebody stole the Wings on sign here and you need
Yeah,
a new one.
Yeah,
that's
Tracy, I got a
Call them
recommendation
and get them,
Yeah.
get them
I'm
made.
gonna bring up, next, for a new AutoZone. Anything else you gotta say? And I think, we got money in our little account, and I think Miss Jennifer, she's still here?
I think she slipped out, but yes.
I guess it's gonna be rolled over to next year, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your fund will stay your
Still in
fund
there.
until you spend the money.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
We, like I said, we've been spending mainly our own money, but if we gotta buy something big, you know, we'll do that. And if any of y'all ever wanna go on a boat ride or boat trip, you call me or Eric, and we'd be glad to bring y'all in.
We gotta see every sign about me.
Well, hey, you come down to Bear Island where I live at, and I'm retired, and I got a camp on Lake Maurepas, and I'll bring you down there. We'll go ride it. We'll make the whole loop if you want. No problem. You know, okay, I'm gonna go, Sam, can I go to this recommendation? Okay, we got a place where, since Blind River Bar is no longer, a lot of people are going to Black Lake now during the summer. And they gotta go to the little cut of Black Bar and Shinbone. I don't know if y'all familiar with all them bodies. Well, they've been, since Blind River Bar's been gone, there's been several accidents right there. Matter of fact, the end of the summer, they had a girl pulling someone on a knee board behind a jet ski in a narrow cut through there, and a boat came through there and like to run over them, had to hit the woods, and then the girl got slung off the jet ski and broke her hip somehow or something. But anyway, there's been a bunch of people running to the trees there lately, especially at night. And it's an intersection, it's a bad intersection. It's at Shinbone at Black Bayou. If y'all probably familiar with it. Any of y'all familiar with it? They really, in fact, they got a bad curve right before you get into Shinbone. So me and Eric went and measured it off a while back, and we'd like to see, make a recommendation that it be an AutoZone installed there. 150-foot upstream Shinbone, 150-foot downstream Shinbone at that intersection, and 300 feet upstream of Black Bayou.
That sounds like you need a three-way stop. Who put them everywhere?
We tried for the round.
I'd like to see this passed by y'all tonight if you can. Just
I
add
think
it.
what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to write all that up specifically, what you said, and then introduce an ordinance, and then vote on that, and then pass an ordinance.
Well-
It's gonna take about a month and a half.
Well, you don't have an ordinance already. That's all you have to do is add this to the list.
It's gonna be an introduction, you gotta add it in, you gotta be specific on the stuff. We're not saying we're against it, we're just saying, you know, you gotta follow that little process. It's gonna be about a month and a half before that's actually a done deal.
Well, we can either do this first week in January.
Cut this out right there. And I give it to them, man.
You certainly can.
Don't get in the whole thing.
That's right there.
We gotta introduce them, we gotta introduce them on the ninth.
And, also, y'all got that wrote down, or I need to write it?
Well, we've got the minutes and we got it recorded and we're
Okay.
gonna get it all.
Tab,
I'm looking at it on the map right now, so I mean, I see what you're talking about. I'm
It is
familiar
very
with
dangerous
it.
right
Yeah,
there.
Devil's up, right up.
if any of y'all wanna look at it, I can bring y'all there in the boat, it won't take
Could-
5
Would it
minutes.
be possible just to put some signs up that say,
Hazardous
crossing
intersection.
here, you know? You say no.
People don't slow down unless
It's two bad curves, John.
I know
It's two bad
exactly where
curves,
it's
and
at.
now with the jet skis and the bigger boats coming in there, it used to be just.
And it ain't
a
no
lot of
narrow-
holes
Used to be
there.
a lot of bad things.
You're
Now
on
you got
just
big
like
ones.
that.
It's probably hit a tab wide in the back body.
It's narrow.
So it's
One
not
side's
very,
full of
very
stumps and the
bad.
other
And if
side
it's not,
goes down.
unless you have a no wake zone posted there, wildlife and fisheries can't write a ticket.
Yeah, I think
And that's where we come into problems, and that's why we had to move some of the signs to the 300, because it's.
Will it catch that bad stump in there? Will the AutoZone catch that bad stump in that curve?
No.
That thing.
We went-
They
we
got two
tried.
or three bad ones in there.
It's
but
bad.
yeah,
Bad.
it's not gonna catch it.
But if,
Well, look, we'll get
that's
that.
passed, that's gonna be 6 signs, and, if I can get the metal posts from the parish barn, we'd probably go install the signs ourselves.
I don't think that's
Okay,
gonna be an
that's-
issue, just we'll do it like Shane said,
That's,
make sure
that's
it's not
narrow
legal.
enough, you can
and then
probably
that
put
way
it on a
wildlife
tree.
fisheries can
Yeah,
do their
That's
jobs.
narrow enough, you can probably put it on a tree.
Can't miss
You know,
it.
Can't miss it. So,
If you miss it, it's 'cause you
In
just
Black
don't
Bayou,
see it.
came to Shinblon,
maybe not.
It's a wide curve. That's all right.
All right, look, thank y'all, Perry, and,
and
We-
one
they get
more
that
question,
built
the buoy that's in the Tickfall River, is the sheriff department's gonna do all the maintenance on it? And,
I actually talked to, Scott at Tin Lizzie's the other day about, he's gonna try to keep eye on it. It's leaned over right now. We're gonna put another weight right on the bottom of it.
Yeah, about 20 foot
Yeah,
lower and then to stay
try to
straight.
make it stand straight up.
yeah, but the parish, sheriff department's the one, the boat
Well,
flotilla will do the maintenance for the battery and,
it's, solar powered, so
Yeah.
should charge itself, and I guess we'll see
but if it
how long
goes
it
out
lasts.
at night, somebody's gonna hit it at night.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's,
The light goes out.
still lit up.
Oh, they'll still be calling you.
Yeah, that's right. Scott will let me know.
Okay, that's about a wrap, so.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank y'all for everything y'all do.
Yeah, y'all.
Thanks
too.
for coming. Appreciate y'all very
Yeah.
much.
Thanks for the job y'all done.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Would you tell them to email them the draft so you can see the proposed amendment?
Yeah, because obviously they know way more about what needs to be in there and.
I know where it's
and
at.
all that.
You never been there? Shinball?
Okay, agenda item number
It's just
11. This is an update on the Master Plan Review Committee. We have Mr. Gerald Burns on the agenda tonight. We'll talk about that. Maybe 2 minutes worth, would be good.
He can't introduce himself and tell you where he lives in 2 minutes. He talked to us like
Item number 11, I just want to briefly tell you where we at, what we're doing there. Back 4 or 5 months ago, we had Mr. Mark Harrell come speak to our group, and we presented a plan to them that we needed money to update the master plan and do a master draining plan for the parish, and he led us through the process. And he said one of the things that he was emphatic about, that the parish had to donate 25% match. Update the master plan was $62,500, and update master drainage plan was $500,000. That's $125,000 match from the parish. And the second meeting in November, the council approved updating amending the budget. Am I saying that right? Y'all amended the budget to include that, and I understand that's gonna happen, right? January the 1st. So I called Mr. Martin Harrell yesterday, and he said we're gonna meet with him on January the 7th, me and Mr. Dominic Abrams. Mr. Abrams helped me write the original letter that was introduced to the council. And he's on the committee, and I just think I thank God we have him on the committee. He's an attorney that works for the state of Louisiana, so he's pretty gifted, okay? So anyway, we're gonna meet with Mr. Mark, and we're gonna write some white paper, so to speak, on the specifics of why we need these things, okay, in detail, so he can present them to his federal counterparts. So we meet with him on January the 7th, so that's all I have on line 11.
All right, Mr. Gerald.
Man, Mr. Gerald,
Good job.
Bubba said I can help.
All right, what's next?
Bubba don't count.
Item 12.
I won't take it all.
Agenda item number 12.
Item number 12.
You don't have to read it again, we already read it.
I'm not gonna read all that. I did last time, and most of y'all was here. Mr. Gary wasn't here, but we presented a letter to the council members asking them to adopt a resolution to approve the 14 items of road projects, which lie strictly in the economic corridor. We started there because the master plan, starting on page 36, addresses the economic corridor, bringing infrastructure, which is road, sewer, water, etc. Sorry. You had a question? So we started on that. There are other projects in the parish that are not in the corridor, which are very important, but we just, this time around, we just went for the economic corridor. So in our presentation, Mr. John Washington asked us to write the resolution. So I turned to my good friend, Miss Sandy, who helped me write, and she does a fine job, write the resolution. So if you can approve this resolution, I'll tell you, in January, we're gonna hit the ground running, going back. If we have a document, this is the parish council approve these road projects as an idea, okay, or by priority. But let me point out in, I guess the last paragraph, that even though we've prioritized these road projects, it's a fluid document. It can be changed. If you want to add another road, or delete a road, or expand a road, it don't matter. But you got to start somewhere. So we're planning on going back to all the MPO members, and that's the parish president, the Mary Walker, and Dillon, and start meeting with our newly elected state representatives and senators, and go there and go to the federal representatives. And anybody else, we can drum up and drum this thing up and get support for these road projects. Half of these road projects should have already been built, and we're not working on any of them hardly, like none, except Cook Road extension. So
I think it's
anyway, I'm asking you tonight to approve the resolution.
All right.
Mr. Darrell, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Like, for example, Road 8 and 7. They're together, you know what I'm saying? But Epic recently had the opportunity for expansion, and they chose not to expand in Livingston. They chose to go somewhere else, and I'm kind of concerned that, I know a convenience store that's trying to build in that particular section,
right.
and what the state's asking them to do, with respect to the state highway, so that they can even get a driveway permit, seems to be tremendously expensive. And I'm concerned that Epic might have gone somewhere else because of the cost of developing the road in front of their property just to get a driveway to, access a new development. I'm just wondering, since we have a current business there that employs a bunch of people in Livingston Parish, instead of the possibility of future businesses, that if that shouldn't be a little higher on the list with respect to requesting the state to move forward. I mean, it's obviously a state highway. We're going to have no say so in the funding of this thing. No. So, I'm just, but I am kind of concerned that if per se Epic has another expansion and they continue to look at Highway 63 and the state's done nothing to address what needs to be done in their future plans that they've got laid out. I mean, they've got a design that they think needs to happen, and Epic's like, well, we're not going to go there because they're just wanting us to build their road for them. So I'm just kind of concerned that maybe that, given that situation, that 8 might be prioritized at a higher level. That's
I don't
my-
disagree with what our logic was there on the roundabout line of 7. You did say 7 and 8.
7 and 8, yeah, I mean.
7, right now, you need a roundabout there now, because getting off the interstate, I guess eastbound, to come to these meetings right here, it's difficult in the daytime. It's hard to get across there. And with all the I guess the trucks running south. But we took a look at the proposed 400-acre industrial park that's gonna come out, I understand, right where the split here, where that convenience store is proposed down there. So you need to start talking about this today. If you're gonna bring a 400-acre industrial park in, you need to have the infrastructure ready to help them out. So that's why we put that there. Now, whether it needs to go up or not, it doesn't matter to us.
I think
it's necessary.
The wish list just fell out the way it
Whether you do it
fell.
today or you come back a year, Mr. Gary, come back in a year from now and change, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fluid.
This may or may not be the exact priority. I mean, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say that there's a process and you have to put
There's a
a
process.
dollar figure with each and try to figure out what type of grant funding you're gonna have and see what's best?
I guess my concern is if we take this thing as it is and we go to the MPO with it, you know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
And start looking for funding, then if Cook Road has already got a tentative construction date, and it looks like number 2 is Juvenile Extension, I know it's something that's needed, but I'm just not sure if we're talking about economic development, I'm not sure that it's gonna generate additional dollars. It might make it easier for people to go somewhere, but it's not necessarily stopping something from being developed because, heck, they're building all around Juby Crossing right now. So I'm just wondering if you know, we ought to look at, you know, something that's generating some jobs of, you know. Sure. I mean, that was just my.
I appreciate it. I think if you want to argue the priorities, then that probably needs to be picked up at the master plan committee with those guys. I think them bringing to us this resolution is. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this resolution and with these roads, understanding that if the master plan committee works with Mr. Talbot, they want to change priorities, that's fine. But I think it's a great plan resolution, and it shows our willingness to support development for these roads that we are so far behind in this parish. So I'll put that in the form of a motion.
They all need to be done. We know that ain't gonna happen.
Let me say one thing, Mr. John. I guess in January, I'm gonna bring y'all the list or the process of the stages of state roads and federal roads that stage 0 through, I think, 4 in detail. I'll bring it to y'all in January and give y'all that information. And also, we're gonna be working on the cost per mile and roundabout of this list right here. We'll have that for y'all in January. The second meeting in January to get on the agenda, so you'll know how much money we need to finish these projects. It's gonna be significant. It's gonna be significant.
Okay. Oh,
All
yeah,
right.
it's gonna be.
Sounds fantastic. There's a motion on the floor by John Wascom to accept this resolution, this preliminary road priority list.
I'll second.
There's a second, well, Tracy.
Oh, please, already second. No problem.
Got a second by Tracy Girlinghouse. Any more discussion from the audience on this particular agenda item?
Done deal?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right. Thanks for that information. Agenda item number 13, introduction of an ordinance. This is to amend chapter 125 subdivision regulations, section 125-9, submittals of the code of ordinances. Mr. Gary Talbot requested this be on there.
Well, I think almost everybody in here has had this impact them in the last 4 years. You know, where people have bought a lot in the subdivision and chopped it up, and it really wasn't something that should have happened, but there was no ordinance to address it. And so consequently, this basically says that if a final plat is signed on a subdivision with or without improvements, once a final plat is signed, no changes can be made. Meaning that, you know, we've all seen it, where you have one lot left in a subdivision that's, you know, 15 years old, and everybody's got these houses that they've, you know, invested a ton of their money in, and they've lived there for a long time. and some guy comes in and cuts one lot up in two and builds something that doesn't, you know, meet what was originally the intent, and people have made investments, you know, in this situation, and we're without the ability to stop it. And so I think that once the final plat is signed, then everybody knows what they're doing. When they go buy a piece of property, they know what, you know, what their neighbors are gonna be building, what they're gonna be building, and they know what size lots they're gonna be. And we don't have to worry about, you know, a change at a later date, and people invested a lot of money in a particular, in their home, and then it becomes devalued because somebody wants a profit take on a lot somewhere. So I'd like to make that introduction tonight.
Okay, so is that a motion to introduce this ordinance?
A motion, I think
There's
so.
a motion by Gary Talbert to introduce this ordinance. Do we need to read this ordinance tonight? Yeah, we got a second right there by Bubba Harris, right? Right. Got a Bubba Harris second.
And this we propose ordinance 19-40. This is an ordinance to amend chapter 125 subdivision regulations, section 125-9 submittals, specifically related to the final plats and subdivisions with improvements and subdivisions without improvements of the code ordinances in and for the parish of Livingston. The public hearing will be January the 9th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
Any discussion from the audience on this particular agenda item? Does anybody have any questions? All right. Any more from the council? Okay, there's a motion, there's a second. Call for the vote on this.
Mr. Matt?
Yes.
Mr. Wassel?
Yes.
Mr. Talbert?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Liddell?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Brownhill?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Okay. 14. This is the adoption of a resolution to place signs for a three-way stop at Briarwood Road and Courtney Road. This is in Tracy Girlinghouse's district.
Yes.
Both Jeff Ard and Tracy Girlinghouse's district.
Well, yeah.
Road, he has the other side.
But, the gentleman came to me, it's someone that I went to school with him, I went to school with his brother, but I've known him. And, he said that if you look at it in the description, it's a three-way intersection, but there's houses that run all the way up to it. On Courtney Road, he said, you know, before the house, there was nothing there were no lots, there were no houses. And so it was, you know, moderately safe to go through there. It was the only chance that if you were on Courtney going through, you weren't required to stop. But now that there are kids and a lot of activity going around that corner, she had asked if I could help him get some stop signs put on the road there, just to give everybody kind of a checkup. I agreed to do it, so I think it's necessary, so I'd like to make a motion.
Got a motion on the floor by Tracy Girlinghouse. Got a second by Jeff Ard. Any discussion from the audience? Any more from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Agenda item number 15. This is an adoption of a resolution to name an unnamed road located off of LA Highway 449, Peyton Lane, in Council District 1, Mr. Jeff Ard's district.
Yes, I had Mr. Michael Lester contact me, and I think Tabs ran into this issue where they ran out of addresses.
Yeah.
So basically, the servitude going back to the land, they're going to actually name it Peyton Lane,
Yes.
so that they can issue some new addresses in that area. So I'll make the motion.
Motion on the floor to name that unnamed road to Peyton Lane by Jeff Ard. Second by Bubba Harris. Any discussion from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 16, this is an adoption of a resolution to name an unnamed road located off of LA Highway 22, Firehouse Lane, in Council District 8. This is in Mr. Tab Lobell's district.
Yeah, this road, they couldn't put mailboxes on that road. They had to have them out on Highway 22 where it was a long walk, and fast traffic going by to get the mail, so they wanted to name this road so they could get an address on it, put their mailboxes on it. And it's right there in Marpole where the fire station is, so Firehouse Lane it is. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Tab Lobel, second by Jeff Averett, to name this unnamed road off of LA 22 Firehouse Lane. Any discussion from the audience? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Agenda item 17, this is a resolution to authorize resident to reside in a camper at 15728 Florida Boulevard in Holden, Louisiana for a period of 1 year due to home construction. This happens to be in Mr. Jeff Ard's district.
Yes, Mr. Rodney, you here? I'm up here to state your name and address. Mainly just in case they have some questions. So just state your name and address.
My name is Rodney Scott. We recently moved into the area. Back in September, I bought a 4-acre piece of property in Holden on 15728 Florida Boulevard. I'd like to request permission to move my RV there for 1 year. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to get MODAD in place, water in place, electric in place, all that stuff, and I can get more done if I'm actually living there. It's got a lot of cleanup to do. I'd like to we're going to build a tiny house, but I would like to be in position so I can work all the time. I can actually work on it instead of having to drive from one side of the parish to the other side of the parish to work on my property. No intentions of staying in my RV for an undetermined amount of time. I'd just like to be able to be on property so I can get the work done.
I had Mr. Rodney talk to the neighbors. He was able to get in touch with most of them. None of them seem to come to talk to them. So I don't have a problem giving 1 year. That's complete.
Sounds good. So we have a motion on the floor by Jeff Ard, second by Tracy Gerlinghouse, to authorize resident to reside in a camper at 15728 Florida Boulevard, Holden, Louisiana. Any discussion from the audience? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Good luck.
Good luck with
Be
your
safe. 18, now this is the board appointments. This is for Gravity Drainage District 1. This looks like it's going to be Mr. R.C. Bubba Harris's appointment.
Yeah, David Provost. In fact, his time was up in November, I think it was. And we want to reappoint him.
Okay, so this is a reappointment.
Yeah, reappoint.
He's the chairman.
Chairman.
Great job.
Yeah.
The chairman, I don't think alike.
I was gonna reappoint
He
him.
really did. He's a little country fellow. He
Okay,
loves
so
drainage,
we have a
doesn't he?
motion on the floor by Bubba Harris to reappoint David Provost to Gravity Drainage District 1. And a second by, did somebody second that? Scooter King. Any discussion from the audience? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 19, this is a resolution to cease all development on Dunn Road until Dunn Road project and roundabout on Dunn Road and Lockhart Road is complete. This is in Maurice Scooter King's district.
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to talk about it a little bit. Dunn Road has a $3.2 to $4 million project coming, supposed to be being done any day. It should have started already, but they've been waiting on utility relocation. And the commercial trucks, construction equipment things, it's getting bad for people that live there, real bad. DPW is patching it on a daily basis from where it's tearing up. Dump trucks are a major issue. We're working on trying to figure out how to keep them from tearing it up. I don't know if we can come up with something to keep them off of that road while it's waiting on this public road. But, what I would like for us to do is put a resolution in place that call for a moratorium on both commercial and residential development on Dunn Road until the Dunn Road project and the roundabout at Lockhart is complete, which will probably be by the end of 2020. So it's probably gonna be about 12 months moratorium on building on Dunn Road.
Is that, would that be excluding permits that might be pending?
Yeah,
right now?
everything is pending. You can't, pull those permits. That would just be wrong to do that.
So how many subdivisions do we have developed on Dunn Road that aren't built out?
One.
So we gonna just tell that guy he can't buy a building permit?
No, he can do his. You can't stop
Can't
him.
build a new-
So you gonna let him, I mean, we're talking about, we're gonna let people issue building permits.
Just in that one that isn't.
So what if I own 5 acres on Dunn Road and I wanna build a house? You gonna let me issue a building permit?
Yes.
Your
Your
council,
individual house. Yeah.
your councilman.
No, I mean,
You're his best friend.
I'm glad you asked, 'cause that's
I'm no,
I think that's a legitimate
I just-
question
no, it
because
is.
I had that same question.
I wanna quantify at what point in time do we tell people you can't have a permit?
Well, if it's a development or a commercial permit, then those would be denied until the time that the road is finished.
Okay, so what, I guess
Sometimes you need to
my,
make
You
sure
just
we
build
get
an
this-
individual house.
wait a second.
Correct.
So,
This is
Chris, I
important.
wanna find out, does a person that owns a piece of property that wants to build a house have more rights than a person who owns a piece of property that wants to build a convenience store? Because that's what we're saying. We're saying that you can build your house, but you can't build your convenience store.
We can tell them all no as far as I'm concerned, but I just thought that.
Well, no, I mean,
the
I
major
don't-
problem is
I
the
don't
issue of
wanna-
more construction equipment.
I don't wanna, well,
You know.
maybe we could just say that we can maybe put a weight limit on the road.
Well, I asked about that today, and, the heaviest truck that goes down the road is the garbage truck. So can we make the garbage truck not go down Dunn Road?
Is that
Well,
what
then
fits
you
your
can't-
policy?
I think that would be an issue with people who live on.
No, I mean,
Dunn
I
Road.
understand, but I'm just trying to.
No, it's not.
Well, there's a couple of issues. I mean, any moratorium has to be
No.
temporary, it has to be fairly, across the board. It
Yeah.
can't affect any projects that are in the pipeline
Right.
already, you all know that. I mean, could you distinguish between a subdivision development and commercial development and versus an individual who doesn't really have to go through a permitting process, right?
Right?
So what he's trying to stop is the
Big-
planning commission process, and so trying to stop volume of new things coming down the road
Right.
until we get this worked out.
Till we get, and I talked to Dee Dee in permitting and Sam in planning, and they were both completely on board and said, we absolutely need to do this. They actually said there's several areas in the parish where we need to do this now.
Okay, so
So
Chris,
can we basically say something in the wording of that, and
That's what we
kind of
gotta
give an
work.
example, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
for
Give an
example.
example of what we mean, we're talking about major commercial development, and included
Right.
in that is a residential
Subdivisions,
subdivision,
right.
any type
Right.
of commercial business.
Which there's not gonna be any on Dunn Road. That's not gonna be an issue with commercial, unless.
Would that be
there's a convenience
fair
store, You never know. A dollar store right in the middle of the road. And no people
Non-discriminative?
there to supply it.
I'm just building about anything other than a single living home.
We can do that, anything
That's
other than.
out.
so here we are, we're back. So Chris, we say we're gonna do this resolution, we're only gonna let you pull a permit on Dunn Road if it's a single-family residence. And if I wanted to build a convenience store at the front of a subdivision and I sue the parish over this situation because you're devaluing my property, how comfortable are you in defending that situation?
Well, because it's a temporary
I was gonna say.
situation. You can't take it off the books completely until you start getting some better land use planning things in place. So you're anticipating that down the future, but that does protect you though, invariably that's what happens, these things in the pipeline, you can't affect those.
Right.
So,
Well, that would be wrong to do that anyway.
Right.
I mean, let somebody start and then go, no, you're gonna stop and wait. That would be.
And the other thing is, if there was something that was major, that person could come back to this council and say, I know you have a moratorium in place, but this was, I bought this property and I asked that you waive it for this particular project. So you have some flexibility.
then
Yeah, and when I talked to Dee Dee about it, she's like, she said that they're gonna let people come to planning. If they come to, on Dunn Road, they're gonna go to planning, they're gonna go to permitting. They're gonna go to the planning commission. And then it's gonna be on hold until the project is done. Period.
So you're really not denying them?
Talked to the planning commissioner today too, and he said, thank you, you know, the infrastructure's got, and we're never gonna get ahead on infrastructure, but we know this one is already contracted and coming. You know, it's not like, well, in the future, it's 5 months, 5 years from now, then we'll let you go. This has to be finished in 2020. You know, they gotta move the utilities, roundabouts, it's all gonna start in January. You know they ain't gonna do nothing the last couple of weeks of December, so they're gonna roll in the first of the year with moving the utilities and the roundabout. Roundabout should have started in November, so it's being held up, you know, for January, that's what they're doing. So I'd just like to do a resolution. The wording is irrelevant to me as long as it accomplishes the goal of less people on Dunn Road with bigger, heavier vehicles tearing it up.
Okay.
Now
So
you
I kind of like the way Jeff's had semi-worded a little
Okay.
bit.
Sandy?
So is there any discussion from the audience on this particular agenda item?
Darrell Bennett, I live on Summer Run, Scooters District. Talking about the dump trucks, they roll up and down that street.
Even Sundays, every day.
All day long. We're talking 4 at a time, in and out. This is gonna be our 4th time this road is gonna have to be overlaid. And where the roundabout is, it's gonna be, have to be reconfigured again. This is gonna be the 4th time. And with residential building down there, and these dump trucks, and they actually go from Dunn Road to Linda Road.
Yeah.
In between, they got these dirt pits out there.
Sometimes they just make a loop.
And they do, they come in off of Linda sometimes, and they come up Dunn and all that stuff and all. But then again, they're gonna start getting up in this roundabout. And apparently I'm about 2 weeks late on this thing with this subdivision we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Me too.
And, cause they're gonna be coming out, and the state is not gonna deny them a permit. You know, so they're gonna be coming out in the roundabout. You know, so it's gonna be a right in, right out only, you know. But, that's a story for another day, but,
So do you think this is something that's past due? I know we're
oh,
late doing it.
definitely. Even with the cars going down. I mean, yesterday when it rained or the day before,
Oh, my God.
you turn on Dunn Road and you gotta go 2 lanes over to
Yeah.
miss the water.
Or so it's 6, 7, 8 inches deep.
Deep, you know, and it's a safety hazard because people go around that stuff and all. But, I mean,
Hopefully all that'll be fixed.
I mean, I'm a lifelong Livingston Parish resident. I've never seen nothing like Dunn Road before. And how much stuff it is. And one of the major reasons is because people just keep building out there. You know, and we continue to let them do that. Until we put some kind of ordinance in place to control building, especially in District 3.
Absolutely.
And,
Well, that's what, we're gonna start working on a building code ordinance in January that deals with densities and some other things, that when they're gonna build between like they're doing with you, everything's gonna be a greater, higher
I know,
deal to make it
and I
better.
realize that we're trying to do it for the entire parish. But my theory is, you know, last year, District 3 and District 2 created their own mosquito district, just for mosquitoes. Why can't we do District 3 per se, just for our own zoning issues? Because we need it bad. We need it bad.
We are. That's what we're gonna be doing.
So,
Instead
but
of
I'm telling you, the
everybody
dump
having the
trucks,
same deal.
this is gonna be like 4 times in 20 years they're fixing to overload this. And these dump trucks, they'll be doing it again in a few more years, so. Okay, appreciate you.
Thanks, Darryl.
Thank you.
The dump trucks, Mr. Sam did contact the people that operate the gravel pit, the dirt pit, and he assured us that he was gonna make sure that his trucks went north on Dunn Road instead of the section that's heavily traveled and it's tearing up real bad. Today I said at the foot of your subdivision, waiting on the news crew, and I saw 2 come flying by, loaded down, but they were not the dump trucks by the owner of the gravel, of the dirt pit. So Mr. Sam was sending Steve Kissler to talk to him again. I said, put up some signs that said no loaded trucks. But we can't do that. It's a public road, right?
Well, you could put weight limits on the road. And I think you could give waivers for fire trucks and garbage trucks. Those are necessary vehicles that service residential areas. So I think it's a parish road.
And see, once they build this new road, it's gonna be to the same type standard as Lockhart Road, 190, and with the sub-base and the amount of.
One
We could put a
option,
temporary weight limit on it until it's.
one option you could do is, you know, you could require scales at a dirt pit. We haven't done it because we have all these temporary dirt pits show up, but, you know, if you put a set of scales and every truck had to cross a set of scales leaving the pit, there would be a record of whether they're overloaded or not overloaded. And to be honest with you, DOT can go to a set of scales and look at what left there and write tickets after the fact.
We called them out this year. And they went to the end of Linder Road and they weighed the dump trucks, and every single one of them were underneath the weight limit for state highways.
I was gonna say, even underweight,
Okay,
there's still so much.
but our
weight.
parish roads are not built to the
Right.
standard of these state highways. So can we impose something on someone, even make them responsible for a road that we don't have a standard on? The new ones we do. The new ones are built, and we know how much weight they can handle. But the roads that were built with the $50 million bond, it has this much asphalt on them.
Right, no, I think well, especially if you make allowances for a dirt pit that's already there, that they haven't exited, if they can get away around it, but on a section of road that's precarious and needs attention.
Absolutely.
You can temporarily or permanently put weight limits on it.
Okay.
You wanna look at a bad road, go in Taft's district, go on Swamp Road, and see what the log trucks have done
It's
there.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
no
And
doubt.
it was redone, same thing there, what, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
It's on the list to get redone again, but you
Because
need to
it's-
wait till the trucks get
It just
finished
gets
running.
spongy and then it's
Well,
done.
Another year, it's gonna be no timber left in there, so.
Then it won't matter.
No use for a log truck.
Anyhow, guys, so how you gonna word this, Shane, exactly?
That's exactly what I want. I just think we need to make sure that it's clear, don't discriminate.
Well, I
And
think.
it actually
Chris-
meets the intent of your, you know.
Do you have
purpose.
do you have a recommendation on the wording?
I'd say a moratorium on the development of residential subdivisions or commercial developments. So those are the two things that go with planning.
That's what I thought, moratorium on both commercial and residential development on Dunn Road until the project and the roundabout are complete.
And if we word it like that, they can, if you own a lot, you know. you can
When they
build
go
a
to
house,
DD will be able to,
You can't, you know.
You making that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
You got a motion on the floor by Scooter King, second by Jeff Ard. Pass a resolution, basically worded, like Mr. Moody had just stated.
We'll work on the weight limits in January.
Scooter, that's a through road?
Oh, yeah, connector between two state highways.
Any more discussion from the audience?
What we had to do on Harris Road was we put, no through traffic to, certain weight trucks, like gravel trucks.
Yeah, that's what they do in the city of Denham too. That's something we can look at, we'll make sure we get it right.
The only problem there is if you need to build a house, you gotta get the dirt. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to haul the dirt, so I mean, we'll have to talk about it. Anyways, everybody ready to vote on this one?
Yeah, we're ready.
That's what you guys said.
Oh, we got somebody that wants, you wanted to talk about this one? Come on up.
Lodge Stafford Road, 276, Lodge Stafford. Your load limits, because I've hauled quite a bit myself, and load limits is your way around a lot of this. And your sheriff department could help, because sheriff department stopped me and called the state police to come check my load several times. And that would be your way around, put your load limits on.
Okay, all right. Appreciate
Could you
that.
repeat your names for the record so that we could make sure we got our
Dalton
files straight?
Sims.
Say that again.
Dalton Sims.
Dalton Sims.
DALTONSIMS.
Appreciate you.
Yep. Good advice. Okay, so let's go ahead and vote on this one. So, we got the motion, Sandy? Yep, you got it worded. Okay.
Moratorium on residential, subdivisions, and commercial.
Guess call for the
properties,
vote on this one.
sold under-
We'll call for the vote on this one.
Mr. Mack,
Yeah.
Mr. Woscom.
Yes.
Mr. Talbert,
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Liver.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Garlenhouse.
Yes.
Mr. Art.
Yes.
I will say, I think this is gonna be a groundbreaking resolution, because there's probably gonna be other districts in this parish that we might need to do that. And I appreciate Scooter stepping up and making this happen. I mean, you know, this might be something we need to look at in each district individually till we get a handle on the traffic situation that we have in this parish. So I appreciate you stepping up, and
Thank you.
I know you're gonna might get some flack for that.
I will, but that's okay, it's work. Hey, Shane.
It's kind of over, but if you want to say something,
I was just gonna tell John's comment, you know, in the future, in doing that resolution, that is to include that, if the Wake Road, you know, in the resolution at the same time.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
Go
come
back.
and take care of it.
Yeah, I got it. So if we do it in a different area, then if we put it together. Chris, would we need to do those separate, the weight limits on one
No,
of
they
them?
could be separate.
They could be, okay, all right. Thank you.
okay.
It wouldn't have nothing to do with changing
What-
what you just done.
We really are supposed to come up to the podium and state the name and all that good stuff, so we can get it in the minutes like we're supposed to. And
Look what you saw.
Vanessa Thompson, North Ball Road. I just wanted to ask a question. They were talking about having to redo all these roads. You have had to redo this one 4 times, have to redo these others 2 or 3 times. Is this because we've used the same company to do these roads, because we've had a working relationship with them, and they wasn't done right the first time?
No, ma'am.
And maybe we haven't.
Don't get it.
I ain't gonna get her.
No, ma'am, that's not what
No,
happened.
ma'am.
Back in, when these roads were put in and overlaid, they didn't use the standard that we enacted when we came in. I think it used to be 2 and 6.
and just to get that
Next
straight,
three
now,
and
that
ten.
standard
Has this been a
had
different
already
company
existed
each time that
before
we've
we got here.
redone these
3 and
roads?
10?
It's well reversed.
Huh?
It's well reversed.
Well, it's whoever's the low bidder on them contracts.
So we've used
got it.
different companies each
I think
time?
so.
Most of the time.
We
Sometimes-
definitely have
sometimes
used
we don't.
multiple contractors.
Sometimes if a contractor's already in the area,
You know, it's-
feasible because their equipment's already there. We
With-
don't want to use them.
With any good development, you know, you gotta have a good
Still have to make some
foundation.
decisions, they necessarily.
Still need to do some research and some background.
Well, the standard
on
has
what
changed.
They've done. And the standard has changed.
Oh, yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think we've learned lessons about getting better work done. But I think that we do need to learn a lesson about researching the
Well,
company and getting them.
And there's a game
somewhere.
plan to talk about all of that, you know, that's coming.
We running out of year.
Thank you.
And on these roads, when they're doing them, there are inspectors out there overlooking these projects. So we're not just taking the word of the contractor, they're going 2.5 inches.
I called
If they
Billy the
gotta
other
go
day, I
3.
said, Billy, who's gonna be here while they put this asphalt down? He goes, our crew is there when they pouring every inch of that asphalt.
Right.
So,
They gotta be there the whole time.
yep, and that didn't used to happen. A lot changed.
Now that.
Okay, thank you all.
Number 20. This one here is to request for a waiver intended for the allowance of permitting due to restrictions of LP number 17-22, section 13-46.1, prohibitions and restrictions of use for mobile home manufactured homes to be placed in named subdivision for the intent of on-site custom-built single-family homes. This here particular waiver is for the address at 7206 Amy Church Road, Denham Springs, Louisiana, 70706.
That's
Whose
in my
district?
district.
That's
That's me. Yeah, I got a call from, I got Andy sent me a deal. I think every lady in the office sent me a deal on this lady. Lady's 74 years old. She's been living 2 doors down from this property the last 2 years with her cousin. She actually lives in front of my sister-in-law on Amy Church. She's buying a house that was condemned in 2010 and was never torn down and flooded in 2016. It's been sitting there boarded up with tarps on it, full of all kinds of nasty. Don't see it. She's gonna tear that down, and she wanna put a modular home, not a trailer. The modular home that they bring in, take the frame out from under it, block it up just like a stick-built home, front and back porches. She said, I'm 74 years old. I could remodel this old house for less money, but I'd still have this old house. It's been an eyesore. I've been asking, me and my wife said, who in the world owns this thing? Well, this lady owns this house now. She's gonna tear it down, and I vote that we give her, I make a motion to get this lady away.
Second.
It's time for it to go. What she's building is nice. It's gonna have a vacant lot next to it, so.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor by Scooter King to grant this waiver to allow this modular home to be built at that said address. And there was a very strong second by John Wascom.
Is this in a neighborhood?
It's actually on Amy Church Road. It's lot 1 of Linda Lee Estates, but those 4 houses, 3 houses, were the model homes for Linda Lee Estates in the 50s. That's when these houses were built.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she said she didn't even realize that it was a subdivision when she bought it. You know? That's
Harris Construction.
So,
Yeah, Harris Construction did that.
is there any discussion from the audience on this particular agenda item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda item number 21. This is discussion and adoption of a resolution to authorize waiver and variance for LP 19-03 adopted on January the 24th, 2019, amending section 13-57 drainage and drainage impact study of the Code of Ordinances that prohibits subsurface drainage. So who's got something on this one? Does anybody have something on this one? Oh, man.
You read that for nothing.
That was just a standing.
We were just letting you go. You ain't got too many
You're trying to
meetings
keep
left.
dragging this meeting out, just keep on. Chris, you got something to say?
Agenda item number 22.
I am happy to report the district attorney sends his best wishes for Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you, staff, and all of the audience.
Right back at him. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Did an outstanding job the last 4 years of directing us in the right path.
It's been a great pleasure. It's a great council. It's a pleasure working with you and your staff.
Thank you.
Committee reports. Do you have anything to say, Mr. Ordinance Committee
Ordinance
Chair?
Committee is done they're done with the year. It's been a pleasure serving as the chairman this past year. And Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right. Finance Committee.
I commit to echo those sentiments. It's been a pleasure to serve with nothing to report at this moment.
You just kept me in office.
Councilman comments. Agenda item number 24. Go ahead, Mr. Bubba.
Okay. All I want to say is, for the last 4 years, I couldn't have worked with a better group of men and our ladies in office. Well, everybody's a scooter. And I know I'm the old man on the council, but we're still gonna make it for another 4 years.
Right.
And
I'd like to add something to that if I can. I know we technically have one more meeting, but just in case my 2 colleagues over there decide not to show up, I won't be the first to say it's a privilege to work with y'all.
Yeah.
Don't be strangers.
Won't be.
And as I said last night, we can always find y'all a committee to get on if you get bored. Just let us know. So it was, friends for life as far as I'm concerned.
Amen to that. Yeah.
And the other thing too is I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I don't know why they keep saying that.
Hey, I make a motion.
I got some.
Oh, come on.
I'd like
Take
to
your
say,
time.
it's been my pleasure to serve the constituents of District 6 and to work with you guys. I've made some lifelong friends here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're not none of us is enemies.
Nope.
Our council clerks, they're the best.
Top notch.
They do an outstanding job. All 3 of them. Proud of them. And I'm gonna miss y'all,
Gonna miss you.
but I'm not gonna miss you that much.
Well, I was gonna, oh, go ahead.
No, you gotta go.
I was gonna hold off and do this at the next meeting, but since
What next
you got
meeting?
on the roll, ain't
think
We have to be at that next meeting? We're officially here until they get sworn in or something.
Oh,
Chris
really?
said,
Oh,
yeah.
because we moved that one up to the ninth, right?
But, anyway, I've met a whole lot of good folks in the whole parish and in my district. But I've met a few people that's been a challenge too, as we all have. And as it is, and as it is, and anything you get involved with, whether it be church or coaching a ball team or any civic organization you're in, you got a certain group of people that refuse to do anything except be critical of anybody doing anything. I'd like to encourage them people to get them a sign in their yard. And about 50 of them, and get you a seat up here and get you a dose of this. And you may have a greater understanding of this whole deal. Because as Gary likes to quote me on, there's some people that refuse to, they're not really worried about don't confuse me with the facts. I know what I believe.
That's it.
And that's what a lot of people, I think they don't totally understand the facts. And so, if you, and a lot of folks want to tell me about, you know, hey, well, I know this guy and I know that guy. And hey, look, I know a lot of people too. And it's good to know a lot of people. But with Christmas season coming up, I think there's only one real person that you need to know, and we're about to celebrate his birthday. So as we get into Christmas, let's try to make sure you know the one guy that's going to make a real difference in your life. And don't forget him. So that's it. I'll hush.
Speaking of birthdays,
Well said, man.
Thanks, Ted.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
And I'd like to say,
Happy birthday, John.
Scooter made the motion.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor by Scooter King to adjourn this meeting. There's a second by John Wascom. All in favor? Any opposed?
Merry Christmas, y'all.